Hello there, LinkedIn family. Jonathan here from Potency.world, a revolution in girls' education from 11 to 18. So, as part of this overall project, the thing that most holds women back is that they don't see themselves represented in areas that they may well have an interest in. So, our discussion today is where are all the female leaders? I'm joined by such an array of women entrepreneurs, business owners, and leaders from around the world. So, the question that really is the main emphasis of this call, where are all the female leaders? I guess the first thing I want to know is what does a female leader look like to the ladies on our panel? Austria.
Oh, I think for me it's it's pretty much the first thought that came in my mind is just women in leadership position. That's or like a business owner, somebody who is in that leadership space, impacting and
What do you mean? So a business owner is one thing. What do you picture when you say female leadership?
I would say I definitely see somebody who is confident, but also cares about people and wants to support people that she's working with or leading. So it's not just about position or having the name of the position, and it doesn't even have to be leadership position, because position can be somebody who's a mom, because you have huge impact on kids, which are our future, So I think it's a person who they are confident about themselves and within themselves, because it's hard to lead when you don't have that sense of groundedness around you and in who you are, but also somebody who wants to help, wants to support others, and not only point fingers of you have to do this or that, but they're also ready to lead by example.
So, from that, I got a lot of sensation, bodily sensation, feelings, thoughts, emotion type thing. Paulette, given the double blow of being a woman in tech and also a woman of color in tech, we know that representation is extremely important. So, how did that affect you, and how did you get to where you are?
Thank you. How did it affect me? In many ways, actually. Even the fact that I had all the necessary qualifications, I was overqualified, but not having access, lack of representation, not being, having to deal with the notion, imposter syndrome, because it doesn't apply to me, because growing up as a young child, I was always told to always do my very, very best. So for me, being in a space, an environment that was unkind, dealing with microaggression, dealing with, being victimized, overcoming and understanding that actually, no matter what, I've got a job to do, and I would always put my best foot forward. But how it impacted on me really was through my mental health, and I felt that that I wasn't good enough because of how I was treated, not how I felt about myself. Do you see what I mean? When you're in a situation and you're good, but you're in an environment where you're like, actually you're not good, and I'm fighting with this environment or the people in there, and like there was a culture of that they were better, and I was like, no, it just didn't fit. It was like a jigsaw, but it didn't. It was an odd piece out. So how did I deal with it? I did it in the most humble way. And I would challenge in a way where I knew I was right, but I would always have evidence to back up why I knew I was right. And sometimes when you're losing a battle, sometimes you just have to say, okay, then fine, and move on. And because I was able to move on, that's where the opportunities I found, because I met some really nice people. He said, Paulie, you're exceptional, and they empowered me to push forward. So sometimes you can be in a situation where you do feel unwelcome, but then you can get an opportunity to move from that and then do better. So that's how I dealt with it. I just kept pushing, really.
So picking your battles, and as is said to me on many occasions, having to prove yourself 2 times, 3 times as much as a male equivalent just to get your point to be understood.
Correct.
Shirin, we've got a long-standing relationship, even though I haven't seen your new hair till today. What did female leadership look like, feel like to you?
First of all, if it's okay, I want to say to Paulette, I mean, it's really interesting you bringing up the imposter syndrome situation and that difference between the two. I knew how good I was, but the world was telling me I was not. And there was this gate or whatever that kept blocking you. And a real leader is about someone that says, okay, I've got to get creative, right? I've got to move out of where I am and I have to move around it or through it or over it, whatever it takes, because I know there's something else out there. So I think the idea of what a leader is, and I mean, there are lots of different styles of leadership, but I think they hold some really basic beliefs. And one of that is the belief that they can do, right? They have a sense of what it is they want. And even though the ground might not seem right now, they know intrinsically they're here. And I love what you said. I had a job to do, Paulette, and that was really important. And I think a real leader keeps that focus there. I have a job to do. If it doesn't matter what that job is, if you're a mother, then that job is to make sure that your children are okay and they are functional in the world, right? You want to prepare them for the world ahead so that they can eventually move out into the world and look after themselves and bring their own children up. So you have a real goal there, but we have lots of goals as a leader, I guess. And so I think when I think about a leader is 1, knowing where you want to go, 2, having the resilience and the confidence to come back on it and check things out. And I loved what you said, Paulette, particularly about the creator, is learning to be able to respond with the evidence, because actually we have to learn to work within the environment that of those that are perpetrating us or saying to us that you can't do this. Well, you've got to give evidence, because evidence is the only way that they can sometimes understand, right? And that's one of the biggest things that we get told as women. Well, you know, we talk like airy-fairy people, right? We are in this different world, whereas unfortunately, and I think myself quite sometimes is that I'm not always so clear, but when I am clear, boy, oh boy, there's a difference in how I approach it and how I say it. And I'm actually more able to hold my state, my emotional state, because I know that I've got those tools and I've also got something that fits with my alignment of my mission. So I think a leader has to know what her remit is, has to know where she wants to go, has to look at the big picture and have that sense of, okay, there's going to be many balls in the air. How do I navigate all of those things in a way? I may not be able to do it all in the same time. Maybe I need to be able to do it, stack it up, but really find a way to navigate that path. And I think a leader shows resilience and flexibility and the ability to adapt.
I like everything you've said, and I would only notice that again, you describe the big picture from looking out as a leader, but we're struggling at the moment to see a picture of representation, which is the problem, and that's why I'm coming back to it. We've been joined by some others in the room. I just want to throw in a quick story from The Authority Gap. So the author of the Authority Gap is Marianne Seacart. She's doing a TED Talk this week and couldn't come on this call. But basically, there's a story in there where a woman was encouraged by her friends. They said, "Oh, you've written a great book. You should publish it. Definitely send it to publishers." She was really enthused. She sent it out to 60 publishers and got nothing. And then she thought, okay, I'll do the experiment. So she set up a male version of her name email and changed the name and sent it to just 6. And from 6, she got 4 immediate yeses and 2 constructive feedback. So Shelley, when we spoke, we ended our call and you said, "Oh, I don't really think I've been traumatized, but obviously I've had to fight all the way and do it all myself." So tell us a bit about that.